everybody. Welcome to another episode of the History of the Bay podcast. My name is Dregs One. Today, behind the lens, we got Rocky Vision. We got King Sid. We got the producer, Scino, in the cut. We got DEO behind the boards. Big shout out to our sponsors, Amoeba Music of San Francisco. Support your local record store. Also got a shout out to folks at Dying Breed, San Francisco, where you can get all these graffiti supplies. And today we got another special guest. You know, we keep coming, man. People from all over the Bay, all over the place, all different types of styles, all different types of stories. We got one of the unsung heroes of the Bay Area hip-hop scene, producer extraordinaire, the architect.
Yo, peace. What up, y'all?
What's up, brother? Thank you for coming through today, man.
Man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you got an interesting story, and I'm not sure if everybody knows it, and I'm sure there's a lot of details for the people who do know that they haven't heard yet. So I'm excited to get into this conversation.
Definitely.
And for those who don't know, I mean, you've been on tour with Souls of Mischief this whole year.
Yep.
We had them in here a couple months ago, which was an honor to have all four of them brothers talking about the 30th anniversary of 93 Til Infinity.
Yeah, 30 years, you know?
It's a trip.
Yeah, man.
93 plus tour dates turned into like, what'd you say, 100 and what?
I think we just did like 112.
112, and it's not over. You about to hit...
New Zealand, Australia, you know what I'm saying? Should have South America coming up soon. You know, it's nonstop all around the world.
No, it's crazy. So what's that been like being part of that experience and getting to hit the road with those brothers?
Man, it's been crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like all the shows have been pretty much sold out, you know. We've been from the UK, all over Europe, all over the United States, you know what I mean, Canada. And like I said, the response from the people have been crazy, you know. It's like the audience, you know, we was thinking was going to be, you know, 50 and up or something like that, or, you know, 40 and up. But the audience actually has been a lot of young people there, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, man, shit's been crazy.
Yeah, I love hearing that because as I get older, it always surprises me that a lot of the people that rock with me are hella young, bro.
Yeah, right? For real.
So that just goes to show you, you know, like, I feel like the conversation about age and hip-hop was a lot more of a bigger thing, like maybe a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean...
hip-hop was still aging. And now that it turned 50, it's like people have shown, like, all those barriers are broken.
It be kids in there, you know, they be like 21 to 28. They know the lyrics. Mm-hmm. They know the album cuts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So... I mean, they know songs that ain't even, they know the Taxi song and they didn't even go on the album.
Right,
you know
right.
You know what I mean? They out there listening, man.
How did you first develop your relationship with the Souls of Mischief?
Man, that's crazy. Well, you know, I had a studio at Hyde Street next to their studio. So they had like, it was like it's kind of county quartered to their studio, but the doors were next to each other. So I would just be, I mean, we knew each other in passing anyways, but when I was renting that studio next to him, you know, I'd be blazing in the studio or whatever. They hear the beats come through, likewise go through, burn something, you know, listen to music, and next thing you know, we was recording, and, you know, the rest is history.
That's dope. Real organic, legendary High Street Studios.
Yeah, man.
In the Tenderloin.
Yep. The illest studio.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like legendary albums that have been recorded there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Jefferson Airplane, you know, James Brown. They said he had recorded something in the room that I was renting out or whatever. So
George Clinton.
Yep, George Clinton would be up in that piece.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's an amazing experience, man.
Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning and tell everybody where you grew up and what was your childhood like.
So I grew up in Milpitas. You know what I'm saying? And small town, you know what I mean? Everybody knew each other, you know what I mean? One 8th grade, we all went to the same 8th grade. So, you know, like Charizma, I knew him personally, you know what I'm saying? His family, you know what I mean? There was a group called Red, Black, and Green that came out that Cut Master Kirk produced back in the day. I knew all the guys from that, you know, group or whatever the case. So, you know, it was a small town, you know what I mean? But my father was a DJ. So, you know, he had a nightclub, but he would do the mobile DJ first before he owned a nightclub. So, you know, I was always into hip-hop and music. And he wasn't per se doing the same type of music, you know, playing the same kind of music I was producing, but he was a DJ, so I was already hip to turntables and the whole way to make it happen. So
Yeah, so you were on it early.
Yeah, I was on it real early.
So Milpitas, that's a small town in the South Bay.
Yeah.
But so there is its own hip-hop history there as well.
No, definitely.
Folks like you and Charizma, rest in peace.
I mean, Qbert would come down there and DJ a lot, so we would see him at our high school DJing and stuff like that, you know what I mean, doing the routines way, way back in the day, you know. I was a freshman seeing him do that, so, you know. We just get a lot of hip-hop experience down there. It was crazy.
Do you remember, like, what is the first hip-hop music you heard, and what was the first hip-hop music you heard from the Bay?
Wow. I mean, the first hip-hop music I heard would probably be, man, I can't even really call it. That's, man. Well, what sticks out in my mind, one of the records that really made me, because I was hearing all kinds of, you know, Grandmaster Flash and all that, but a record that sticks out is Schoolie D. It's the record with the, you know, graffiti on it. So
Smoke Some Kill?
It was the one before that. Yeah. Can't remember off the top of my head, but that particular record, the beats on there was crazy. And that was a moment where I was like, all right, I'm going to definitely try to make some beats, you know what I'm saying? The first hip-hop record from the Bay, wow. I mean, damn, Dana Dane, or not Dana Dane, but what's that? I Call Your Name, remember that song?
Dangerous Dane?
Dangerous Dane, that sticks out. Pooh Man, of course, Too Short. I mean, that's off top, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, AMW, 415, like just all them records.
So all that stuff was making its way down there.
You know what I mean? Chunk, you know, Totally Insane. I mean, you know, just that whole era.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So you went right into the beats. You didn't want to start off as a rapper, or did you?
You know, real young, but once I got to the beats, I was like, yo, I'm sticking with this. This is where, you know, well, DJing, because I was DJing too.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right,
you know
for producers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm DJing, you know, little high school dances around the way and whatnot, and house parties and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I want to learn how to make these beats that I'm DJing. And then, you know, once I figured that out, I was really just stuck on the beats.
So we're talking early 90s, right?
Yeah, like 89.
Late 80s, early 90s. What was the process for making beats back then, and what type of equipment were you on?
I started out with, well, you know, it's funny. Where I was at, it wasn't like a lot of people making beats, so I had to figure out what to get.
Right.
So I didn't know that you needed a sampler initially. I heard 4-track, so I had the 4-track. Then a drum machine, you know what I'm saying? Then figured out that shit wasn't sampling. That wasn't what they was using, in, you know, to make the beats.
That's not how you get them James Brown beats that you hear.
Exactly. So, you know, tape looping. Then eventually I figured out I needed a sampler. I got a little small Casio sampler, but it didn't have enough seconds. So, you know, I had to wait some years, stack a little money, you know, and finally got an EPS sampler. Mm-hmm. And once I got that, you know, I already had the records. I've been buying records and shit forever, trying to figure it out. So,
yeah.
And my dad had a bunch of old records, whatnot. So once I got that EPS, it was on.
I love that EPS. That's that real crunchy 8-bit sound with the floppy disks.
Exactly. Affordable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, you know, the SP1200 and joints is like 5,000, 3,000, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That was way out of my wheelhouse at that moment, you know?
Yeah, it's always a trip to talk about this, just thinking of how now you can download a program for the internet for free. You could do shit on your phone, on an iPad.
Exactly.
But I mean, back then you really had to invest in shit.
Yeah, it was an entry fee. You wasn't just getting in it.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
You gotta pay your entry fee.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, at what point did, and before I even ask this question, let me just say Homeliss Derelix, right? That's a group that you were part of. It's a group that, if you know, you know. It's one of them type of groups.
Yeah.
Worldwide following, underground.
True.
Influential, but not a lot of people, not a household name. So I'm really interested in that story of how that group came together.
That's interesting. So, you know, I would be going to this mall, Eastridge Mall. You know, you go out there, hang out, go get some girls, you know what I'm saying? Kick it with the homies up there or whatever. And by this time, people in the general South Bay area knew I was making beats. Like, it was kind of like, oh, that guy makes beats. So I ran into Grand's brother, who wanted to get some beats from me. He was going to buy them. And we started working together. And in the process, I met Grand.
That's Grand Visitor for those who don't know.
Grand the Visitor, you know what I'm saying? In the process, I met him. And I don't know, I think one day I was playing some beats for his brother. And then he busted a rap, and I was like, oh, shit, that's really what the sound and the voice that I'm looking for, you know what I mean? I can cuss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's the voice, that's the sound that really goes with what I'm trying to do. He had the patterns and whatnot. And, you know, we just linked. And then from then, you know, he'd just come by the crib. You know, I'd have some beats playing and stuff. We'd make a tape, jump in his car, drive around. He'd be writing, you know, freestyling or whatever the case, and then come back, and then we'd end up recording a song or whatever. And, you know, it was just like, you know, just the perfect, you know, medium.
So you're like making demo tapes,
Yeah.
dub tapes, and then at one point you self-release your own album, right?
Yeah, well, we was, you know, like I said, I knew Charizma. So, you know, we was making the songs, and Charizma heard the songs, who was with Peanut Butter Wolf, and then they introduced us to Matt Brown, who was a manager. He used to work with Buddha Bob. He's a guy out of Frisco, Buddha Bob. Some might know who he is, but long story short, we was all in the same management, and then the management, you know, kind of helped us organize and put a tape together that kind of went around the industry, and then, you know, Charizma was murdered. You know what I mean? R.I.P. to my mans. And that kind of changed the dynamics of everything, you know, basically. So what ended up happening is that Wolf didn't really want to, you know, continue doing music in that kind of way or whatever. So we ended up funding our own record.
Because they were a producer.
Yeah, producer, DJ.
MC.
Yeah, exactly.
Duo.
Same kind of situation. So when he stepped out, you know what I mean, and just kind of like fell back, we put this record out. But then after that, Wolf had started Stone's Throw, and then we was like right there recording, and we kind of just transitioned right into his Stone's Throw label.
For those who don't know, because Charizma, they had a couple releases while he was alive, right? Or like
they had
singles, and
they had like a single, but really he was signed to Hollywood Basic.
That's right.
So they was doing the big record label thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you know, whatever happened in the midst of that, it was all happening during the time he was signed to Hollywood Basic.
So like the world didn't really get to hear him that much in those days, but it seems like later on Peanut Butter Wolf released some of those early songs, and people started picking up on it.
Exactly.
And he actually became a pretty influential MC to a lot of people.
No, definitely, man.
What was he like as a person and as an artist working with him?
I mean, Charizma was just fresh, like hip-hop, fully fresh. Like, he had, you know, the ill cars with the rims. He had the ill jewelry, you know what I mean? Flat top, all the ladies, money. Like, everything that, you know, you thought a rapper would have, he had that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, early. And he had already been moving around like that before the record deal, so that when he got the record deal, that just enhanced, you know, the whole thing. Like, he was made to rap. There was no question that, you know, he was a star.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And the Peanut Butter Wolf connection, he's from San Jose, right?
Yeah, he's like not too far from where my mom, you know, where we stay, basically was like maybe a few miles up the way. You know what I'm saying? Up the road called Piedmont. So, you know, he was right around the way.
Right.
Same area.
Right.
Same area.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, this is a time when like the independent movement in the Bay is booming, but it sounds like y'all are kind of focused on making a demo to get a major label deal.
Exactly. That was kind of what the focus was.
So you weren't thinking really like the out the trunk type of...
Not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, I had seen people do it, but yeah, I was like 19 or something like that. I was just like, nah, I'm gonna try to get a big check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it makes sense to me. Shit.
You know? I mean, that's what was happening at the time, so that was the move.
So what were the official releases that actually came out under Homeliss Derelix?
So we had Cash Money. Well, actually, we had Critical Meltdown, right? Critical Meltdown and Surviving the Game.
Oh, yeah.
That was on Movado Records, which was a record that we funded ourselves.
Okay.
The Bomb compilation was even before.
I was going to get to the Bomb compilation.
Yeah, the Bomb compilation was our first release.
Okay.
On Yeah, on vinyl.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm on the second Bomb compilation. It's a little cutty hip-hop trivia right there.
Okay, yeah.
But that's actually, for those who don't know, that's actually one of the first Bay Area rap compilations. It's a lot of, I think Mystic Journeyman is on there.
Yep, they're on there.
Blackalicious, Qbert,
Charizma, Peanut Butter Wolf.
Yeah, so a lot of these big names and that became big names. And I guess that compilation also was kind of like got the attention of the industry, right, for recruiting new talent.
Yep.
And shout out to Dave Paul.
Yep, yes, sir.
Founder of Bomb Hip Hop Magazine. So was that kind of a big deal to get your start on there?
That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song we did was called Fuck You. So, we wasn't getting played on the radio. That was a big deal.
I think Total Devastation is on there too, right?
Yep.
And you ended up producing
I produced some stuff with them. We they had a single out with Diamond D did one side of it,
right.
And I did like a remix of the song that Diamond D did. And I used to kick with them guys a lot.
Yeah.
Them some dope dudes.
Yeah. Shout out to the homies, Total Devastation. We had them on the podcast too, a few episodes back.
Oh, yeah.
But some of these Homeliss Derelix, like tapes.
We had the blue tape.
Okay.
The blue tape was like, I think we probably made 100 of them, but it went into the industry and then somehow it became a thing. You know what I mean? Like random people ended up with this tape. That became a vinyl record that Peanut Butter Wolf put out. And then Cash Money is a single that Peanut Butter Wolf put out. The cool thing about Cash Money is that, and Critical Meltdown, the Cash Money record, actually, we recorded that at Dan the Animator studio.
Okay.
While they was recording, Dr. Octagon.
It's a trip, man. The Bay Area hip-hop scene is a pretty small circle, right? Especially back in those days.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like if you're really serious about doing it, you're going to run into other people who are serious about doing this shit, too.
Nah, definitely, man.
But some of these Homeliss Derelix albums or releases, or even from the early days, like today, they're collector's items.
Yeah, I would say so.
And some of them sell for like hundreds of dollars, and people are like constantly trying to track them down. How does that feel to put something out on such a like underground scale and see that it's still relevant in that way so many years later?
I mean, it feels good, man. I mean, when you're making the music, you don't know what's going to happen. So, it feels good to hear about it later, And, things was kind of different in life at that moment. So it's even better to be a little more wiser to be able to, I guess you could say capitalize off of some of those things that are happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now there's a little more resources. You can see who's buying the shit exactly. And hit them up and say, hey, I got this too. And
for a long time, it's not like I would walk down the street and necessarily hear people bumping Homeliss Derilex or some of these records that I'm doing, out their trunk or something. I mean, you might hear something here and there, but a lot of it was DJ based, you know what I mean? And, vinyl based and stuff like that. So, it's just a whole nother thing. You never know who would have heard it.
Yeah, you never know. That's the exciting thing about putting out music as an independent artist is that, somebody's going to hear it.
Yeah.
And you never know how much it might impact somebody or what it might mean to somebody and how it evolves over the years, what it means to people like years down the line.
No, definitely.
So we were talking earlier about the beginnings of Stone's Throw Records, and you were right there. For those who don't know, Stone's Throw is like one of the most legendary independent hip-hop labels, home to artists such as Madlib and MF Doom and J Dilla.
Yes, sir.
Many more. What were those early days like of seeing that come into fruition?
It was bittersweet because, we had lost Charizma. So, that was a whole thing. But, we didn't get the record deal at that moment. You know what I'm saying? We that just, dissipated and the manager thing kind of dissipated or whatever. Well, what actually happened is that I went to L.A. to do a record for Coolio.
I was going to ask about that.
And then when that happened, the other stuff kind of, we was gone for a minute. because Grand was in LA also at that time for whatever reasons, you know what I'm saying? So we was just not there. When we came back, Wolf had started up with the label. He was working at TRC. And he hit us and was like, yo, y'all got that music? Let's put it out. So I ended up putting that one out, the Homeliss Derelix record, the Encore record, and Persevere, his first record. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it was a good look.
That's dope. I mean, it seems like the approach to that label is just shit that they like, that they believe in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we was friends, so It was even more like, you know, it wasn't like I had to bring it and he had to listen to it in a way where whether he was going to like it or not, he liked it.
A lot of people start labels and their friends are the last people they think of putting out.
No, that's true, though. That's true. But, you know, he just liked what we was doing. He already had heard it because, you know, he was pretty much around while we was recording it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it was a no-brainer.
That's dope.
I mean, I, at the moment, didn't know or didn't see that Stone's Throw would have been such an impactful thing on the industry, you know, right when it's starting right then. Like, I'm really proud of what he's done with it and, you know, salute Wolf.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, they're into, like, all different kinds of music now. Huge, devoted following, fan base. I definitely remember not those early days of Stone's Throw, but the earlier days of Stone's Throw where it was just like, they had a brand where you knew you could find some shit there that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. In fact, my man Fanatic's in the house.
Yeah, shout out Fanatic.
Yeah, Fanatic was there. You know, he did the Unassisted record for Rasco, you know what I'm saying? So he was in the beginning, standing right there with me, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, man.
You also mentioned Coolio. You're on the very first album. Rest in peace, Coolio.
Yeah, R.I.P. Coolio, man.
It takes a thief. I'm assuming it takes a thief to know a thief is what that stands for, right?
Right.
Or maybe it takes a thief to get this money in this shady-ass industry. I don't know. Yeah. But that's a classic West Coast album. Coolio was around, like, wasn't he part of that whole Mad Circle?
Yeah, the Mad Circle,
scene?
Yeah, that was clean, too. The Mad Circle was right. Yeah. That was WC's first crew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So how did that come together where you end up producing for him?
I mean, like I said, a lot of people in the South Bay knew I made beats, so his brother's girlfriend knew one of my homie's sisters and was like, yo, this guy makes beats, you should come check him out. So his brother Spoon came through to my house, and I just made a beat on the spot, and he was like, okay. When I look back at it, I was like, okay, you can work the drum machine and you know how to work your machine. It was, you know, an ASR, or not ASR, but EPS. He's like, you know how to work that thing? Okay, you made a beat with it. He said, I'm gonna call you. He calls me like 3 months later, and he's like, you need to come to LA. Drive to LA, and boom, I stayed down there for like, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 months to record the record, you know, made the record on the spot. You know what I mean? Made the beat on the spot. I was, you know, like I said, it wasn't like beat CD days where you had all this, you know, catalog. It wasn't even no CDs around. So, you know, I didn't have hella big catalogs of tapes, so I just would make people's beats right on the spot. So I made his beat right on the spot, and, you know. I had made a couple other beats in this particular session that we was doing, and he was like, yo, man, the next beat you make, that's the beat. Because I was being all artistic, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like this one. Turn this off. And he was like, what? Oh, wow. I was like, oh, this ain't it. He's like, the next beat you make is it. And it's funny because, you know, being on tour with Souls of Mischief, me and Breakbeat Lou, you know, he did the Ultimate Breaks and Beats. He, you know, we DJ. I work the drum machines and turntables. He works the turntables and whatnot. And we kind of work together to make their soundscape. And that day, Coolio had gave me this record going back to that, and it was an Ultimate Breaks and Beats record. It's the only time I ever used the record. And, you know, it's funny to be, you know.
Yeah, it's a full circle moment, right? Full
circle moment, man, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, R.I.P. Coolio.
Yeah.
Shout out Breakbeat Lou, you know what I mean? And
that ended up being a platinum album, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Dope, man. Dope.
That's what they say.
Stripes in the game.
Yeah, man.
And you just mentioned Rasco earlier. That's another cat you guys are affiliated with, Cali Agents, Rasco, and Planet Asia.
Yes, sir.
You've produced albums with Planet Asia too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Planet Asia is a dope MC, bro.
You know, another fun fact, Fanatic produced his first EP.
Oh, I got that, actually. Yeah. I got the
Kaleidoscope.
I got the single. I got it on wax. It might be Kaleidoscope. But yeah.
It was just an EP with like 7 songs.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I got. Yeah,
It was a single one.
Yeah, it's like a black cover with like a purplish kind of photo. Yeah. I got that on wax. Yeah. How did that relationship come about?
Actually, yeah, I met Planet Asia through Fanatic.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit, how do you guys know each other?
Homie Jerron from San Jose.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd heard the Homeliss Derelix tapes, and I was just trying to figure out what gear to get. Before I just had turntables, and my homie who knew architect Jerron was like, "This is what you need to get." Blah blah blah. Make me an EPS. So I got started on the EPS.
So it's just that same circle we was talking about.
Like I knew like a lot of MCs that he worked with, so it's like I knew him through that.
That's what's up.
And many people, even later in life, found out we knew the same people.
Right. And Rasco's from San Mateo, right?
Yep.
So that's also kind of close to that area. So you're saying that's how you ended up meeting Planet Asia too, through Fanatic.
Yeah, through Fanatic.
Because Rasco had lived in Fresno.
Okay.
And Rasco I lived in San Mateo, Peanut Butter Wolf and Rasco at one point. And so he was always talking about Asia, his homie from Fresno. And so when he brought him out, kind of connected, and she went crazy, man. He just, every night, he was on it. Kept coming on a Greyhound, coming through.
Dope. Yeah, we're talking about some of the staples of the West Coast underground.
Yeah, Asia's definitely definitely one of them.
Whiff of them, right? That's when you guys got the single.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
definitely.
ABB Records, right? Yeah.
ABB was like, Benny was like, you need to make sure you do something with him. So we put something together. And
they also put out Dilated Peoples.
Exactly.
Who else?
Foreign Legion.
The Far Eye.
Foreign Legion. Okay, yeah. Foreign Legion. Shout out to Foreign Legion too. And you're a part of a crew called the Executive Lounge.
Yeah. That's all my homies. Persevere, who was on Stone's Throw. Encore, who was on 75 Arc. That's Danny Animator's label. Grand. My homie Holocaust. Yeah, man. Am I forgetting somebody? Oh, my Aunt Dave Dub, the amazing Dave Dub, man. So, those 5 MCs that I had, they're really my friends on the homies that, I just grew up with or whatever. So we were able to make a compilation record. And there it is. Executive Lounge, you know what I'm saying?
And then, before we started, you were mentioning that one of your early works came out on Buck 50 Records. Which came up on our last podcast episode with San Quinn.
Yeah, like Homeliss Derilex at one point was signed to Buck 50 Records, and Female Funk, that was on the label or whatever. They shouted us out on the on their album, and it was on wax. So that's what a lot of the Homeliss Derelix scratching you hear me doing actually comes from that record that Buck 50 put out for Female Funk. So I think Pam the Funktress was in that group.
Okay.
Obviously, San Quinn was on that label at one point. JT was messing with them at one point. We was moving around so much at that point, I can't even really remember why we didn't end up putting the record out there, but you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting. It's just like all these different little connections in the music scene. But at one point, you kind of like fell out of the music scene, right? Like towards 2000s.
Yeah, when it was just getting weird, you know what I'm saying? And I was basically used to things being a certain way. The internet was coming into play. Everything was, you know what I mean, just changing. So I just decided to just fall back.
I think that fucked a lot of people up.
Yeah.
The idea of like free downloading. The fact that because I remember it being like out of nowhere, it's just like nobody buys CDs.
Yeah, exactly.
Motherfuckers got burners now. We burn CDs. We send it on the internet. We got MP3s. All the big chains started shutting down.
Exactly.
Was that before the Opio record you did? Or after that one?
You know what, though? That's like the Opio record came out before the Vulture's Wisdom. So I did do the record with Opio, this record, Vulture's Wisdom. We did 2 of those right at 2006 up to 2008. 8 and 9, and then right then after I did that, and I knew I was leaving people with some heat. Mm-hmm. And you know, we did videos for all the songs.
No, that was dope. You guys made a good run with that album. I remember when that came out. Shout out to the homie Opio.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the folks. But, yeah. So you know, I just basically, I just need to take a break, man.
Take a break, get your mind right.
Let everything kind of come together.
Was there anything in particular that brought you back? Because you've been dropping prolifically lately.
You know, once I started hearing, well, you know, I always would drop stuff. Like, I had little beats here and there on, like, Asia projects and stuff like that during the whole time. I just wasn't out there just actively trying to get busy. But when I heard, like, the God Fahim, West Side Gun and them guys, when I started hearing that, like, that run, I was like, oh, shit. It looks like, and they was looking like they was kind of, you know, making some money. I was like, all right, maybe it's back. You know, maybe some of the things that, you know, I'm into is kind of, you know, back in play. And
you dropped 2 Homeliss Derelix records up before that, remember? There were no Stone's Throw. The SB 12 first.
Oh yeah, I did do it, but those were older records.
Albums,
yeah, those was already recorded though. Like, that's what people don't realize. Like, that record I dropped with Planet Asia, we recorded that, like, in 2005 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Then I dropped it, like, 10 years later. It was just sitting on my hard drive. But
yeah, I mean, there's been, like, a renaissance lately of, like, I don't know if I want to say boom bap, but it's better than saying backpack rap. But,
yeah.
You know, sample-based hip-hop.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's been a renaissance. Like, I definitely feel like Griselda and Rock Marciano,
yeah, exactly,
Alchemist,
you know,
cats like that have been really making that a wave.
Yeah, no, they definitely been at it. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was like, yo, I got to get a piece of that.
Yeah, and the God Fahim, you've done a few projects with him.
Yeah, I did some stuff with him, with Markami. Yeah, you know, other guys in that whole lane, you know what I'm saying? Just did something with this dude, Mickey Diamonds and this other guy, Cochise, like they did a song together that people are really messing with. The homie Criminal God. So, you know, I got people out there that's...
Oh, that's Scino's folks right there, Criminal God.
Oh, yeah, Criminal. Yeah, I produced that. That song, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my guy right there.
That's one of the illest names I've heard in a minute.
You know? So, yeah, you know, and, you know, shout out to Griselda and all the different dudes that help, you know, revive that type of sound, you know what I mean? You know, it's not just Griselda, though. It's
definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah.
Salute to all them dudes, you know?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I mean, now I feel like it might be to me, it might be one of the best areas of hip-hop because there's just something for everybody and you can just find it.
Exactly.
There's no middleman, record label, mainstream type of thing anymore. That's kind of phasing out because now you can, if you don't like something, you just go listen to something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's radio stations that play different types of hip hop, and there's podcasts, and it's just whatever you're into. If you're into drive-by gangster music, you can play it all day.
You're good.
If you like fucking sample shit with no drums, all day.
Yep.
If you like shit that still sounds like 92 G-Funk, hey, you got it. Whatever you want is out there. Are you just reaching out, just hitting people and using the internet to get to all these collaborations? Because you've been dropping, like, I just took a quick look before to prepare for this interview, and I'm like, man, this guy's got songs with like 100 MCs, man.
I reach out, you know what I'm saying? Dudes reach out to me, you know, but I do reach out because it's like, you know, you never, you know, I try to work, man, and try to be cooking. You know what I mean? And you know, there is a little bit of value to attention, you know what I mean? And the more stuff I got floating around, you know, it just adds up.
I think there's a big difference between a producer who just sits back making beats and waits for someone to hit him up and a producer who's like, yo, let me make this happen. Let me get him and her and him on my beat and let me make sure this comes out and then let me line this up over here. Like, you got to really stay on your grind in this shit.
Exactly.
You got that Crypto album?
Yep. Yeah. Crypto album was crazy.
Tight.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out Equipto. You know what I'm saying? I've been rocking with them, you know, since the 90s, man. That's the fam.
That's what's up.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Like I said, I try to reach out to anybody. If I come across this shit and I'm sitting on the internet or something and you got bars and something, you busting, I'm looking at the Instagram, I'll hit you in the DM like, yo, what's up, man?
That's right.
Let's listen, you know, let's work.
That's dope. That's dope. And you've been collaborating with different labels too, like overseas labels.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple different labels overseas. This label Derinkle, Rap Derinkle or something like that. I just did a record with Tajay with Chopped Herring Records. Tajay from Souls of Mischief. It's called Black Tech. Check that out. Only on vinyl right now.
Dope.
So, yeah, man. Yeah.
Are you still on the EPS, or what kind of equipment are you on now?
I'm on the MPC.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Which version?
I'm rocking the MPC 1.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm messing with that right now. I got an 808 clone thing that I try to use with this S2000, so I'll be trying to, mix and match, do some old school stuff. You still got my 4000, but, I just don't have the time these days. I got to be able to move through the beats and do workflow fast.
No doubt. What's the most important advice you would give to a producer who's trying to get their music out there and get in the game?
Man, I'd say, that's a good question. I mean, use the internet. Everybody's at your fingertips. I'd say that first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? If you're good, they're going to holler back at you. I'd say that first and foremost. Make sure you keep it funky. Make sure you still, switching your styles up and trying to get fresh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. And, keep your fingers crossed, man. That's all I can say.
A little bit of luck goes a long way. Well, that's what's up, man. I mean, this has been a long career for you. You're still on the road. You're still putting out tons of music. You're still staying busy, keeping your ear to the street. Anything coming up that we should be looking out for?
Man. Yeah. I can't really just say quite yet, but yeah, keep your ears out. The Architect. I'm going to be working with a lot of up-and-coming rappers that's you're going to be hearing about them. So I just don't want to say quite yet because the records aren't quite done. But I will be coming to a city near you. So that's know right. That much so you can hear my beat set. If you're an MC, come out, you know what I mean? Maybe get some beats from me or something like that. But I will be coming to a city to do my beat set with my man Fanatic. So, look out for that. The Architect and Fanatic coming to y'all city soon.
That's what's up. Appreciate y'all brothers stopping by. I'm glad we got to tell you part of your story.
Man, appreciate it.
You're the first representative of Milpitas, man. I try to cover every part of the Bay on this podcast.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
Well, right on. Thanks to everybody out there always supporting, always showing love. Shout out to the whole team working hard. Thank you, everybody. Another dope episode in the archives. History of the Bay podcast with the Architect. We out of here. Peace.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.